everybody, and welcome. It is Wednesday morning. It is time for your Berkshire Hathaway bi-weekly podcast. Seems like it's been forever since we've talked to him, but realty expert Adam Helgeson's in the studio. We'll talk to him right after this.
Life, with its many stages. From the "my little one has just arrived" stage to the "I have arrived" stage. From the first home you'll ever buy to the one home you'll have forever. No matter where you find yourself in life, your forever agent will be there. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. For you, for life.
And he is back, the one, the only, realty expert Adam Helgeson. Man, it seems like it's been forever.
Yeah, it felt like forever.
Well, you were a little under the weather there, I heard.
God, I felt like ass.
You're still kind of hacking a little bit there, but you don't look bad.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, considering.
Yeah.
Everything good? You have a good Thanksgiving and all that stuff?
Yeah, besides being sick.
Yeah.
I just got a little tickle in the throat now, but for a while I was down and out, so I'm just scrambling, trying to get caught up now.
Yeah,
so.
and it all happens, of course, right when deer hunting kicks off too, right?
Yeah, missed deer hunting.
What a bummer.
Two beautiful bucks were shot out of my stand.
Really?
Yes.
Well, at least somebody got to enjoy them.
Yeah, exactly. The ones I've been watching on my cam for like months.
Really? Yeah. Now, this is something, it's the fun rivalry we have, cross-state rivalry, Minnesota, North Dakota. You are actually a Minnesotan, but you live in North Dakota and back and forth and all of that. I'm a Minnesotan who lived in North Dakota, but I'm back in Minnesota and I work in North Dakota. You know how it goes, but you think there's one better than the other? Is it better to live in North Dakota than Minnesota, or vice versa?
It's a lot of personal preference. And what made me bring this up today is I'm actually I'm doing pictures today on a place in town here.
Okay.
Just outside of town, and they're moving to Minnesota, and they were kind of like, "Oh man, we're worried about the different expenses and this and that." So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a podcast on it.
Perfect.
And it's probably going to be a two-parter.
Yeah, all right.
There's a lot of different stuff. So, for those of you that don't know, East Grand Forks is just across the river in Minnesota, but it seems like one big city with the river going through it.
It does, yes.
But, it is a different state. So there's the key differences. I'm just going to go through some of the key differences, and then I have pages of stuff here we're kind of going to talk about. But overall, Minnesota does have a higher income and property tax rate.
Okay.
Than North Dakota.
Yep.
The cost of living is slightly higher on the Minnesota side just because of the tax structure. Housing market, you can get more house for the money on the east side.
Sure.
Compared to Grand Forks.
Yep.
And, the property taxes are, it says that Minnesota's a little higher. I'd say they're pretty dang close. But we'll get into more depth on that here in a minute. The school systems, a lot of people I talk to want to go to East Grand or Minnesota because of the school systems. So the smaller school district, kind of known for personalized attention, plus their sports.
Sure.
East Grand hockey is pretty dominant. I know North Dakota people that buy condos or get apartments in East Side just so they have an address so their kids can go play hockey in East Side.
Sure.
So as far as amenities, East Side, of course, being a smaller town, fewer amenities as far as stores and stuff. So a lot of East Siders rely on, the Grand Forks businesses for shopping and all that type of stuff. Hence the reason they want to build another bridge.
Yeah.
Going back and forth. As far as recreation, I'd say they're pretty equal. There's access to the greenway and stuff with the bridges that go across each way. Hunting and fishing, Minnesota has more opportunities as far as lakes and stuff like that than North Dakota, but we have Devil's Lake. So, out-of-state fishing license isn't that much. When it comes to deer hunting, though, being a North Dakota resident now, I pay $180 a year for a deer tag, which really pissed me off.
It's one of the reasons I stay in Minnesota.
Yeah.
For hunting.
I really wish I would have got a lifetime license before I switched.
I know. I thought about that 40 years ago, too, and I thought I was stupid.
Yeah.
I wish I would have.
Yeah. As far as economic opportunities, once again, most of the jobs are on the Grand Forks side of the river.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is Minnesota and North Dakota have reciprocity when it comes to taxes. They're not going to double jeopardy where you pay taxes in North Dakota for your work and for Minnesota.
Sure.
So, unfortunately, if you live in Minnesota and work in North Dakota, you still pay the Minnesota tax rate. Vice versa.
Yep.
If you live in North Dakota, work in Minnesota, you pay the North Dakota tax rate. So, East Grand does have more of a small town community vibe.
Sure, it
I
does.
think than Grand Forks.
Yes, it does.
A lot of people, once you're an East Sider, man, they run pretty tight.
Those East Greasers, yep.
Yeah. Growing up in Crookston, there was a huge rivalry. between
Growing up in Thief River, there was a huge rivalry between all three of us.
all three of us. Yeah, that was. Yeah, we'd have East Grand Forks kids come cruise Crookston and yell and try and start fights. I'm like, you're coming to our town? Get the hell out of here.
Let's go to Crook Rock and raise heck.
Yeah. My sheet does say alcohol sale laws. Minnesota has stricter alcohol sale laws.
They do.
Yeah, so
And traffic tickets and all of that stuff. I mean, you get caught speeding in Minnesota compared to getting a speeding ticket in North Dakota.
North Dakota's
big difference.
North Dakota's maybe $40. Minnesota's $132.50.
Yeah.
Not that I have that memorized. I paved half the streets in Crookston when I was in high school. Then too, your housing utility costs, slightly higher in Minnesota due to their regulations and energy costs and that type of stuff. So, when it comes down to it, it's kind of a horse apiece. It really,
it is. If I may,
you may.
Minnesota, not a lot of people up in this part of the state we don't really agree with the metro area, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and basically they decide everything that goes on in Minnesota. And when you talk about taxes and things like that, we're still paying for things that happened a few years back that we never should have had happen. And there's a lot of people kind of upset with that, but I love Minnesota. I really do.
Look at the the county map for the last election. That'll tell you a lot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Sure will.
And Minnesota's so freaking beautiful. You get up by Bemidji, or we do a brothers fishing trip up by International Falls.
Oh yeah,
Lake
once you get up,
and,
you get up in the Iron Range, or even going north. The Beltrami Forest, Warroad, Roseau area, Middle River. I mean, it's 15,000 lakes too.
You'll be surprised, but January 17th, my daughters were heading out for figure skating to a tournament in Duluth.
Okay.
Never been to Duluth.
You've never been to Duluth?
No.
May I recommend something? Do you like pizza?
I do.
Pizza Luce.
Pizza Luce.
Yeah, try the mashed potato pizza, dude. Oh,
mashed potato pizza? Okay.
I mean, I was 19 beers deep when I ate it. It was probably the best.
Anything tastes good.
It was the best pizza I've ever had, man.
Yeah. Someone the other day was like, man, you need to get out more. You've never been to Duluth? I'm like, no, I've lived in Hawaii, traveled the world, but I haven't been to Duluth.
Been across state.
I must live under a rock.
Somebody says the farther right you go, the more left it gets.
Maybe true.
Well, you'll enjoy Duluth. It's a nice place. It really is.
I've heard it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
So back to, kind of which to choose. So my little sheet here that I was doing my research, choose East Grand if you prefer a quieter small town atmosphere. Mm-hmm. You value Minnesota focus on education and community oriented living. And you want access to Minnesota-specific amenities laws. Outdoor recreation is important. If you want that Minnesota deer hunting and that type of stuff. One nice thing, though, if you're military coming into town and you're going to be stationed at the Grand Forks Air Force Base, if you live in Minnesota, not only do you not pay state income tax because you're a Minnesota resident stationed outside the state, being that you're Minnesota and stationed in North Dakota, you can get resident hunting and fishing license in both states.
Wow.
Yes.
I know one thing. This is what I really like, being a cat fisherman that I am. We fish on the Red River. Well, since it is a border river, one state, between the two states, they decide whose rules they go by. So when you're fishing on the Red River, it doesn't matter if you've got a Minnesota fishing license like I do. I can take my boat, put it in on the North Dakota side, and it's all North Dakota law. Even if I launch on the Minnesota side, it's North Dakota law. which is an awesome deal because we all know Minnesota, when you're summer fishing, 1 fishing rod. Winter ice fishing, 2 fishing rods. When you're summer fishing in North Dakota, 2 rods.
Yeah.
That's why you'll never see a catfish tournament on the Red Lake River. And that's probably the main reason.
Probably,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, 50% less fishing rods in the water. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Choose North Dakota if you want to save on taxes and overall living costs. So North Dakota's a little cheaper. You prefer a larger city with more amenities, shopping, and entertainment, even though East Grand isn't that far. You can drive across the river. Mm-hmm. And you're looking for a wider range of job opportunities or want, the closer proximity to UND. So there's more jobs on this side of the river than east side. And one other thing to kind of compare, we were talking about the property taxes, which I say they're pretty similar. But I got a comparison here. So a lot of people don't really know how the property taxes work. So in the North Dakota side, property is assessed by the city, which has been a huge debate lately.
Yeah.
And then the taxable value, you can do it 2 ways. Okay. They either take the assessed value times 50%, which is the taxable value, and then times that by 9%.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or you can just take 4.5% of the assessed value.
Okay.
Equals the same.
Yep.
The 2024 mill rate is 346.54 mils, equating to a tax rate of 0.34654. So, for a quick calculation, a home with a market value of $237,000, right? Assessed value is $237,000.
Okay.
So you times that by 50%, which is $118,500. The $118,500 is the taxable value.
Okay.
You take that by 9%. That's $10,665. Then you take that times the 0.34654, which is the mill rate. So your property taxes on a $237,000 house is $3,696.
And that's on what side of the river?
That's on the North Dakota side.
Okay.
So Minnesota side is pretty comparable. The city did just approve a 3% increase in property tax levy for 2025, so keep that in mind. But the same property tax in Minnesota, I don't have the exact breakdown, but it'd be $34.74, with 48% of that going to the city, 27% to the county, 21% to the school district, some watershed, and ambulance services. Mm-hmm. So just a quick breakdown on that. So Grand Forks, 3,696, East Grand, 3,474. So it's
pretty dang close.
dang close for a $237,000.
Couple $100.
So yeah, the tax rate, property taxes and stuff are pretty similar. Mm-hmm. Like I said, on the east side, you do get a little more house for the money.
Sure. And another thing too in Minnesota, isn't it a little bit more for like licensing and stuff on your vehicles?
I was going to get into that in part two.
Okay, we'll talk about that Friday then. Yeah.
Sounds good. So that's when it comes to housing, that's kind of some of the things to compare. Next one, we're going to get into different healthcare coverages, advantages, lower income, disabilities, some veterans programs, what it takes for that. And then the vehicle registration stuff.
Okay.
So
I did see, I thought I was reading it on the news this morning. There's a little bit of an uproar, speaking of taxes, in your hometown. I think they upped I don't know if it's property tax or if they get a sales tax thing going on, though, to keep the swimming pool going. And there's some people not very happy about it.
Oh, well, they were just having an uproar that the pool was closing because, they upped some taxes in Crookston to convert the Winter Shows building into some big credit union.
Oh, see, I heard they were going to redo the Winter Shows to make it Winter Shows building again, but
I don't think so. I heard it was turning into some credit union or something, which doesn't make any damn sense to me. But then the city didn't have any money to keep the pool open, so they're going to close the pool.
Okay, maybe I read that wrong, but maybe we'll find out more by Friday.
Yeah, because I know one of my buddies, Wagner Mobile Welding in Crookston, they're putting together a fundraiser to raise money to keep the pool open.
Okay.
So they're Berkshire Hathaway were putting together like a gift basket for an silent auction or something.
Oh, cool.
Coming up. So,
Okay. Well, we'll try to keep the people updated on that. We're going to finish this on Friday, but
Absolutely.
until then, how does somebody get a hold of realty expert Adam Helgeson?
best way is my cell phone, 701-317-1750. You can check out my website, homesbyhelgeson.com, or call any of us real estate experts at Berkshire Hathaway at 701-746-0303.
All right, there you go. It's good to see that you are feeling better again, my man. Berkshire Hathaway Bi-Weekly Podcast, your Wednesday edition with realty expert Adam Helgeson in the books. We'll be back again Friday morning at 10.